Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today's guest is Aidan. Thank you for being here. How are you doing?
Doing well. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it. Something I know you're very passionate about at Drake is parts of sports, and I know at Drake you kind of got into cross country. Could you talk a little bit about how you got involved with running in the first place, and has that been something you've been doing your entire life, or how did you get into running?
Yeah. So running's something I don't know. It's just something I never thought I'd be doing today, just based off just my athletic activities in elementary school and mindset in middle school. It's just something that's never crossed my mind of just participating in, because yeah, when it came to just the sports I played, it just seemed awful. And then like with lacrosse, basketball, and baseball, I was just saying it's just like, sure, there's endurance aspects to it, but it's just I've never thought of doing anything like where I am today, completing like 12 milers, completing just long runs, doing interval workouts of mile repeats. And I in like middle school, I thought doing the mile run at Whitehill was just awful. That's just
Yeah,
it's funny how things turn out, where our or where it's just with the decisions we make. Yeah, and it's just I think a lot of it came to being open to trying new things. That's one thing, because when I went into I think part of it too is just going into high school. You got to have an open mind and keep all your options open and just say, hey, like I don't. It's like I don't know where this is gonna end up, but hey, I'm gonna do it. And it's just and like even in freshman year, it's like I saw my friends in cross who ran cross country before me. It's just like I saw their runs and workouts. Like, oh god, that just seems so intense. And it's just playing lacrosse. It was just I was like, oh, I'm happy with the amount of running I have. And like the day I decided, hey, I was going to run cross country, was when I talked to a lacrosse player who went to Marin Catholic, and he ran cross country, and he told me that uh, his endurance just got so much better. Than as a product of that, his play got a lot better because he was able to play more minutes. He was able to just keep up his muscles and just play just more efficiently at the same
yeah,
time.
that's very
And that's
exciting. Um,
yeah,
Continue. Yeah,
and I think that was just one of the things that just like helped me. And it's like, hey, maybe this isn't that bad after all. And then when I started it first day sophomore year, it's just I was out of shape, and I realized, hey, this what I need to do to get there, and just keep open and commit. And yeah, and I think
yeah,
just
and
committing helped.
commitment's a very big thing, I think, in sports, but especially for sports like running or swimming or something that's kind of just a very individual training. Like it's just you gotta put in the hours, you gotta just push through the pain, and you get to a point where it starts becoming more enjoyable. And I think it's also exciting for you that something that might have started not as enjoyable or painful has become something that you take more joy out of. Um, because I know for water polo, it's like the similar. Like for lacrosse, you need the running, but for water polo, there's the swimming aspect. And I know a lot of people really don't like the swimming aspect as much. Although I do see people starting to get more into it when the swim season starts continuing. But for you being able to have the running and also enjoy that, and it helps your lacrosse, that's even exponentially better because you want to do the cross country, you want to run to stay in shape, and which I'm sure makes your lacrosse even better. Um, and going into another year, I'm assuming you're planning to do cross country if everything works out too.
Yeah,
Um, how does the team look like for your upcoming senior year?
the cross country team. Well, it's so since I just give a lot of credit to our coach and just everyone around in the community that's built off of it. It's just the team is just strong. It's just we have a lot of good runners. It's going to be competitive for just being in top 15, where like I I'm pretty much in. That's where I was in, or I think I don't know. there's just a whole group of us which we're all competitive with each other, but at the same time we all run together, we all train together, and we're teammates and stuff. And it's just overall the team at Drake, I think it's very strong. It's going to be strong this year, and we're going to be competitive at all of our races and stuff. And it's
I'm
just like
sure.
the past 3 or 4 years or the past, yeah, for the past 3 years. And it's just from my 2 years of competitive running, like I'm no way an expert of just judging the way things go, because like with my experience and stuff, it's just because everything, you can't lock everything in, and nothing's guaranteed. So yeah, you just never know where it's going to go. But hey, we have our goals that we're trying to achieve, and that's what we're looking forward to doing
Yeah,
this
that's
season. And it all starts in well, yeah, and it all starts to just, I don't know, it's just a lot of it comes together as a team. And just in the summer when we do our summer training and stuff, doing long distance training in the summer, so we could just get in racing shape by fall,
what.
or not by
Yeah,
fall, but by beginning of school year.
for sure, and that's really exciting and energizing. I think if you get to do the summer training, I don't know how concrete that is, but being able to do something during these strange times, get out, maybe even see people, um, and yeah, having that kind of anticipation for this year and being able to compete with other people on your team, and have people that both you're friends with, that are pushing you. I know in my own personal experience, having people around you that are good and being like in just a group together, it makes you even more better. So that's very lucky that you guys get to have that. And when it comes to cross country or Drake, is there a certain rival that is usually your biggest competition? Is there even like at the school that, because I know Drake has certain rivals, but is there one specifically for cross country?
Yeah, yeah. It's Redwood. It's Redwood. It's Redwood. Yeah. It's just,
Have there
I
been
think,
like close races or like
yeah.
I'm
There
not
has been there has been some close races. Like from the 2 years I've raced so far at Drake, there has been some close races for. Yeah, I would say there's been some close races just when it comes to MCAL championship, where like last season we won our third straight in a row, and it's just, yeah, there's been some close ones. I'd say, and it's just, oh yeah, and
well, that's
Redwood's a
fun.
good team. They're always competitive. They're a good team. They're well coached, and it's just, and they have good runners, and it's just, I think it's great too, because it's like, it's always great to have competition, because again, with just goal setting, it's like, hey, we want to beat these guys. But and it's just sports in general. It's just, hey, there's always people who you just want to win against. And it's just, I think the idea of winning just drives, I don't know, it's a nice goal to achieve. And like,
Yeah,
and
for sure. And
I
having
and
other
back
people
in,
to look over and like be like, oh, that I want to take that person down or take that team
yeah,
down as a team. Because there's things you can do as a team, like pushing each other, but nothing really beats having a rivalry where there's close races, both teams are well coached. It's not just because of talent. There is talent on teams. There's good coaching. You know they're going to have a good race. This is every year. I think kind of that sort of competition is intoxicating, because really in sports, the most fun races are the ones that are closest, or
yeah,
games or whatever you're playing. Like everyone wants to win a championship, but I think winning a game by 10 goals or by a exorbitant amount of seconds or whatever you're doing, it's the most exciting ones, the ones where you barely squeak out a victory, at least in my opinion.
yeah.
um,
It's
that's
just it's
yeah.
you get just, it gives you that the sense of butterflies and gut feelings. And backing up to it, before you asked me about the rival, it's just when you talk about like having people to train with and people to go through with, like it makes things easier and it helps improve. I couldn't agree more with that statement, because just with quarantine I haven't been able to run with anyone, and it's mentally, it's just in a lot of these endurance sports, it's just mentally, it's just because it's just, there's a like for cross country, there's a big team aspect, but then there's like the individual aspect where you have to train at the same time to maintain like high endurance and just high performance, and it's hard to do it by yourself. That's just one thing. It's
Hmm.
just mentally, because it's hard to see the goal that you're trying to achieve, but you're trying to do it, but it's I don't know, it could be mentally rough. I just know with quarantine, it's just running. I've been running a lot during or for at least for the past 6-7 weeks I've been running, and it's just mentally it's tough, just doing it by yourself, and it's just and we do time trials and stuff, and it's just or I do time trials and stuff, but it's just hard to just I don't know. It's
Yeah.
hard to do it without your teammates. That's like one of the great things about team sports is you have people you can trust, and that you could that they have your back, and it's just I don't know. It's just
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't understand kind of people look at something like running or swimming in my case as like very individual. I think a lot of it is, but having teammates just be around you, whether it's in the pool or running beside you, that does so much. And they're part of it is, I feel, in my opinion, is that they're pushing you to do better. And I think it really helps generally, but also just having people around you, I feel like makes you want to be there more, at least my opinion. And yeah, and especially in these sports that are very mentally like tough, there's definitely a physical aspect, but in these, because since they are individual and kind of when you end up running the races or swimming or whatever, you have to have that mental toughness. And I think having people around you is definitely helpful. Um, and like for my case, like for water polo, we have twice a week like Zoom meetings where we all get together, do a workout. And those are the workouts where I feel like I get the most out of because there's other people pushing me and we all are there together working to that common goal. And I'm sure it would be the same for you. Like, oh, we're
yeah,
all trying to beat Redwood. So I hope you guys get the chance to do some running together in the summer.
yeah, and it's like with water polo, you guys are meeting twice a week. We're meeting twice a week too for cross country, just to do or with track or to just do core workouts, just to keep up the core so we don't get like cramps, and so we can just keep ourselves race shape when the time comes. And it's just now
yeah,
it's kind of interesting too, and it's just one of the beauty about sports at the same time. It's just the relationships you get to build with people. It's just like, hey, there's some people that I never thought I'd be friends with, just because in like in high school and stuff. And I think I've been able to achieve that through sports, because it's just you get to see commonalities, and then people's weaknesses, and just the best out of people. And it's just it's yeah, I think that's one of the most valuable things about sports of any kind, like from competitive or from fast walking to just the most intense sport, to like the most intense team sports of water polo, to just the hardest endurance sports of just running.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I,
yeah, it's just relationships are just something beautiful that comes from team sports.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to find those sort of relationships in other places. It's not like you can't, but having something like physical where it's not only people coming together, but there's this physical, your body is tired, it's pushing yourselves, you're all pushing yourselves towards this common goal. Um, you're bringing everyone closer. And then you also, if you can find someone that you also share other interests outside of that sport, I feel like those are sometimes the strongest relationships because they understand like being an athlete or is a different mindset than other people a lot of the time. And being around other athletes, it's just I feel like you can have these really strong bonds. I totally agree with you. And so you also play lacrosse. I would love to hear more about your involvement in lacrosse, Drake lacrosse. Um, how long have you been playing lacrosse? So why don't we start with that?
Yeah, so I've been playing since, well, I think I picked up a stick when I was probably in 5th grade. I learned how to catch and throw, like, and shoot and just handle the ball like 6th and 7th grade. Then I played Grizzlies. I first played in like organized league in 8th grade, and for Grizzlies, and I played defense pretty much. Yeah, I played defense, and it was kind of a seamless fit because I also played basketball, and the sports are very similar. It's kind of amazing just with like defensive stuff, and then all even offense and the offense. And then I played for Drake, freshman, sophomore, and junior until the season got cut short due to the virus. But it's kind of experience because Drake, it's somewhat of a young program where it's just not a lot of kids have experience on it, and it's more of a learning process. And I think one of the great things of just what I've learned through Boy Scouts and things is being able to lead people and like teach people, because like sure like there's a lot of good teams like the American Catholics, the Redwoods, the Nevados, and the Tams of the world, which are great teams and they have strong programs. And it's just one of the things that I've valued about the experience. Like, sure, we don't win a lot of games, but one of the things I value about the experience is that I'm able to help and teach people who are new to the game and grow the game. Because lacrosse too, at the same time, sure, it's the oldest sport in America, but it's or North America just in general, but it's such, I would say it's it's been recognized a lot in the past 10 years, and it's something that's not as popular out here, and it's just more of an East Coast sport. And it's kind of amazing be able to be in part of the process that grows the game. And it's like I'm no expert, or like I'm nowhere near like the I would say just I don't know. It's just I'm not saying I have like I'm able to just I'd say I'm not saying I'm like the greatest
Yeah.
player in the world or anything, but it's just like I think every season I see what stuff I have to learn, and it's just all the stuff I don't know, which is kind of nice because like there's a lot of stuff I don't know about playing lacrosse, and there's a lot of things that I can't like skill wise I can't do yet, but it's just, and I know I'm not the greatest like every time, I'm not like the best player on the field, but it's just I think with the knowledge and stuff I have known, the core fundamentals that helped me succeed in games, and it's just like putting work in the off season and stuff. It's kind of nice just to at the same time pass down just what I know to people who are just new to the game, and just give them encouragement and just and help build a program. Because sure, like losing sucks. It's just, but I also it's kind of nice too to know like with cross country, I know what it feels like to win and like what has to go in to be able to just win. And I think that's just I just experience playing lacrosse being like a leader on the team. It's just helping people just learn the game and grow the game, which I just think is valuable. So
Yeah, that's a very unique opportunity to be a part of something that maybe isn't as established. And even as you're saying, maybe you're not the best player in the world or whatever, but having skills and being able to help teach other kids how to play a sport that you love and you've played for a while now, that does sound very exciting. And also kind of having that contrast between the cross country and lacrosse, and obviously you get to utilize the cross country, your ability to run in lacrosse, but then having a sport where it's more like skills stuff and other unique aspects where it's not as straightforward per se. I'm sure that's exciting. And then, so how does, for Drake Lacrosse, how is the team like structure? How's it been? Like, how's it been organized? Do you guys have a coach? And because I like honestly, I don't know that much about Drake Lacrosse. I feel like it goes
yeah.
somewhat under the radar. So kind of how does it all happen in the lacrosse for organizing and getting that all together?
So well, we do have a coach. We get like we've been utilizing funding from school, get new gear, and just new supplies for the team and stuff, jerseys and stuff like that. But like during off season we have practices and stuff at the same time. And we do some tournaments, like some small tournaments up in like San Rosa and stuff sometimes. And we like last year we played in a box lacrosse league, which is the indoor league. And it's just with the game, it's so it's played on, or for field at least, it's just played on a giant field, which is similar to like your soccer size field. And it's just you have your three middies, two on the wings usually, or well, yeah, at the start of the game, and then you have one mid usually taking face off. But like a lot of it, it's just a lot of the and then you always have three defensemen and three attackmen and your goalie. And like with defense, you have 6 foot sticks, while the offense or the offense and like attack and middies usually have 3 foot sticks. So there's like certain given advantages, and a lot of it is just continuous. There's like no really the only time where there's like I'd say just you have your timeouts, you have your quarter end, or like you have your quarter breaks, but then you have like the only time when it's just continuous. It's like the ball. There's a reason why it's called the fastest game on 2 feet, because the ball is always going up and down the field, and it's continuous, and it's just fast. And then you always need numbers, so you have like in players, so you could have subbing out middies, because middies are always running back or running back and forth, playing offense and defense. And it's like, and I play defense and long stick midi. So sometimes I have my defenseman pool playing midi. So sometimes I'm running offense and defense, and it's just, and it's very competitive. It's just, and it's like it's there's like the physicality of football in it. Then I would say there's the endurance of a sport like cross country you need. Then there's the quickness of like a soccer, and then there's the IQ of like basketball, pretty much.
Yeah,
And it's
sounds like
just
this fusion of all these
yeah,
intense skill sets. And like I was saying before, having a sport in which you have to take all these different functions and bring them together, I'm sure that's almost like very like exciting, because well, at least for me, I know swimming, as much as I've enjoyed it and gotten out of it, the reason I like water polo more is because there is the ball involved. You're with other teammates passing. There's this movement. It's like this quickness. It's not just go. It's just not just back and forth. And I'd be interested to hear, like, when it comes to you for lacrosse and cross country, do you have a favorite out of the two? I know you've been playing lacrosse longer. Or have now, you kind of both really have a place in your heart, or equal place at least.
I would say both have they have their like differences. Like they both have their mental struggles when it comes to like both sports. But I honestly I love both sports just equally. It's just there's I think there's a lot there's the I think with cross country that I love the most about it is the satisfaction of just seeing a lot of hard work pay off. And with lacrosse, I think it's more of just a way for me just to apply like a physical strength and stuff more, and then just it's just and it's just to just there's I feel like on the lacrosse field, it's just a lot of it just when it comes, because it's a very IQ focused game at the same time, and it's just I feel like it's a place where I could also put all my distractions away and yeah, it's just both sports I love a lot, and it's just for different reasons at the same time.
Yeah, that's great. And having kind of different reasons to love them and being able to utilize skills from both of them in each other. And when you said, like, for a cross country, having a sport where it's a bunch of work for like this one big payoff, that's like, and having lacrosse where maybe like with games, with games you have a bunch of more games. There's lots of small moments where you can be winning or losing. And I know in something like cross country, there's things like the entire race, you can like pick out different points in which you might have done something well and done something poorly, but it really does come down to that final who crosses the finish line first, and also your time when you're comparing to yourself. And that is a totally different experience. I completely relate with that, having a sport in which comes down to like who wins that, and it's that one thing. You've worked all this running, done all this running, and you get to that one little thing with this one big race, and whoever wins is the thing. That's a huge energy rush depending on how you do. And then having a sport where it's more flowing and you have a bunch of small moments, having those two different opportunities, that's definitely something I can relate to, and I understand and agree with how having two sports like that can totally be fulfilling. Yeah, that's super unique and cool. So yeah, and then also you mentioned before you've been a part of Boy Scouts for like your whole life, it sounds like. I believe I was in your Boy Scout troop for a group like a couple years, way
Cub
back in
Scouts,
the
yeah,
day.
I remember that back in the day, the Pinewood Derby days.
I got second. I got second in the Pinewood Derby, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Hype.
It's pretty. It's like Pinewood Derby, man. That was like peak. That was the peak. No, no, that wasn't the peak of my scouting career, but it was like it's just some of the best moments because it's like kind of just you grind to just make sure you have the right you
Sanding
have the right
down.
design. It's like aerodynamic. It has the right weight. It's just like it's just right below the max.
Yeah, you
It's
gotta get. I don't know, that was definitely a fun part. I used to have that car somewhere, and I think I finally threw it away. Like two of the wheels had fallen off. I don't know what happened to it.
yeah.
But
That I always had real problems.
um, so yeah, so I haven't had the Boy Scouts and be a part of my life. I was just a Cub Scout for a few years. So how do you feel like that being a part of the organization like the Boy Scouts? How has that affected your life and how you approach situations, and kind of what are some of the bigger takeaways you've gotten from it overall before we get into more details?
Well, I think it's just one of the biggest takeaways I've had is just being able to lead groups, big and small, and just to achieve a goal. That's just one thing that I've learned. One of the biggest things I've taken away because a lot of the stuff within it is just you're in patrols and you're always trying to complete things. It's just that's basically the more general, I don't know, way of the leadership in it, and it's just I think that's one of the biggest things I've taken away from it. So yeah.
Yeah, leadership, that's a huge thing. It's hard to learn in a lot of places, and having a spot where you get to be in control and being a voice which people are looking towards, that's very exciting. Um, and yeah, so in the Boy Scouts, kind of what do you do? Because obviously I was only there for when I was, I don't know, it might have been like first, second, third grade when I was a
Yeah.
part of it. So what kind of do you do now in the more later aspects of Boy Scouts?
Yeah, it's what I've realized. Boy Scouts is a lot different from Cub Scouts in many good ways. In my opinion, it's more I'd say scout run pretty much than adults taking control, and it's just more mature at the same time because it's just I'm grateful for the experiences I've been able to have through scouting, where it comes to just leadership trainings and to just and just the like high adventure bases where I'd spend like 2 weeks in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico just backpacking and or on a sailboat in the Florida Keys sailing and then navigating a boat and just fishing or just being up in Canada canoeing for a week and a half and just with like without just with just the people like with the small groups of people in that same time it's just getting away from everything like my phone my electronics and stuff. That's just one thing that I've been able to experience, just different types of adventure and just different ways of being outside and utilizing just I don't know and just seeing just trying new experience trying it's just being open and trying new things
Yeah.
out. That's
Putting yourself in situations in which you might not be perfectly comfortable, um, I think that's kind of one of what I, from afar, it sounds like is something pretty big in what the Boy Scouts do. And a lot of times these days, what I've noticed is people really have trouble pushing themselves or putting them in places that are they're uncomfortable. And even I fall victim to that. I find it personally very hard to put myself in a spot where it's maybe not, I'm not the safest, or I'm not super comfortable. And putting yourself literally in the outdoors where you do not feel as comfortable, there's a lot that you can take away from, at least what it seems like. And so, yeah, you've mentioned a couple of the things that you might like you've done with canoeing or island backpacking. What other stuff do you do maybe more locally with the Boy Scouts? You did mention leadership training of some sorts. Are there community service projects, or do you have the kind of what goes on around here?
Yeah, so around here, there's a lot of community service stuff we do. So, well, part of it too. So, like with leadership training, there's something called National Youth Leadership Training, which is held at Tamarancho, which is just the property of the Boy Scout zone. And you spend a week up there, and you're put in patrols, and it's just basically a nationally run training where you see a lot of and you learn just effective ways to how to lead and just and it's just lead and succeed while leading. It's just, and I think that's one big thing that we did around here. And then also, there's a lot of just community outreach we do. It's just so one of the big things for community outreach, we have Eagle projects that, like, if you want to achieve the rank of Eagle, you gotta lead a service project. I'm doing mine in a couple weeks, and it's just I've participated in a lot of them, and it's kind of cool because it's all scout run leadership projects. Like sure, there's or there's just some help from adults when it comes to using tools and stuff if your project requires it, but it's just I think that's one of the most valuable things that comes from, like, hey, from scouts. It's just scout run leadership projects, because it helps benefit just a lot of other people and the community. And it's kind of interesting too, because it's a good experience. it's
Yeah.
it's seen just like how organizing something large for the better of your community, and it's just leading people of all skill sets to get a job done. It's very it's I think it's just valuable just to participate in them, because you get to see takeaways, just like, hey, what works well when it comes to doing my project, or and just like, hey, what and it's just like, hey, what did this person do well when it comes to just leading a group in
Yeah.
general for just a project. It's very interesting, and it's
Well,
very
being
interesting.
able to be in control, maybe be a leader, and not having adults kind of telling you what to do. And of course, you can have adults help facilitate, but a lot of places you don't have places where only like the students are really the ones being the ones in charge. And having that opportunity before you go off to college or go off into the job world, being able to be the one in charge, organizing things, looking at peers to figure out how to do it better instead of going to ask a teacher or something like that, or a parent. And obviously you can get help through them, but that's definitely a very cool and unique opportunity. And you did mention doing your service project soon for pursuing the rank of Eagle. So it sounds like you are pursuing the rank of Eagle. Kind of what, so it sounds like there's a service project. What other things do you have to do to get to that? Because isn't that the one of the highest achievement, if
Yeah,
not the highest?
that's the highest one. So within that rank, it's basically a culmination of everything. So you have to get within it. You have to get 13 Eagle required merit badges, then 8 non-Eagle required merit badges, and like the 13 Eagle required merit badges are actually like really useful and beneficial, and which are like really good to learn. And there's a reason why they're Eagle required, and it's just like because there's emergency preparedness, which is one of them, family life, personal management, which is dealing with money, budgeting and stuff like that. Then there's first aid, which is your general first aids, just what to learn and like how to handle certain situations, and when there's someone hurt or you need help someone. Then there's communications. There's uh, there's citizenship in the nation, which is where you just learn a majority of your government and stuff and history. And then there's citizenship in the world, like your duties and obligations as humans. And then there's citizenship in the community, which is also a valuable one, because that one is just a merit badge that helps you strive to just participate more in your community, go to town council meetings, go to or like get a bunch of community service hours. And yeah, and also another thing about one of the citizenship in the nation that I really enjoyed is I get to write to my congressman or a senator, or congressman and senator. So I had to write a couple letters for that, and it was a nice experience, because it's just something that I thought I would like, oh, I never expect doing, but it's nice too at the same time. It's just I get to experience just I feel like, I don't know, just communicating at a higher level and just
Yeah.
I felt like I did something productive. That's one thing that was nice
Hmm.
too. I did something productive that I felt made a difference.
Yeah, and just having these more opportunities of maybe putting yourself in a situation where you're not super comfortable, and there's the more literal ones where you're out just going out backpacking or whatever in the middle of nowhere, but
Yeah.
also doing things that maybe are more helpful in everyday life. And it sounds like a lot of those are just being prepared to do things in the real world and getting you ready for whatever walk of life you choose to do. Be prepared, and learning all these things to help the community, help the nation, help the world, and then also help fellow humans if they're in need and yourself. So it seems like that whole process has taught a lot and is very exciting and a unique opportunity, which a lot of people don't hear about. I don't know that many people in Boy Scouts, and hearing more about it, it's definitely something that sounds very intriguing and sounds like a great experience. I think kind of one last topic I want to get to before we wrap this up is, I know you and Ben are part of the Business and Investments Club. We don't get too in the weeds, but kind of, do you want to talk a little bit about what that's all about and what you guys do in that club?
Yeah, we co-founded and we're co-presidents of that club, and it's, uh, we just want to make. I think one of our prior goals is just build our knowledge and help people learn, others or other classmates learn what goes on in business investing and just finance in general. It's just the important steps to just in the financial world when it comes to like in, and it's just a lot of things that people take for granted just because they don't, it's just there's not, or they just don't really get exposed to it much. And it's just with like the club, we just want to we want to learn at the same time for ourselves, but also we want to spread the knowledge that we have to others. And it's just we get to I don't know, it's just we gotta learn is just what just investing in general business practices at the same time. It's just, and like if that means just communications, or that means investing strategies, reading books on investing strategies, and also just general finance practices. And like we've sent out a couple surveys last year, and it was just that was an interesting experience, like seeing how much do uh our classmates know about just
Yeah,
finance investing at the same time. It's just a lot, like there's a lot of communication when it came to that. And it just it's quite interesting to see how much people don't know about certain topics. And it's just, and when it comes to it's people who do join our club, we're strategies and finance practices that are useful in the real world. And then another thing we do at the same time is just current events. We look at what are smart decisions some CEOs do, or in owners. I think like Elon Musk of the world. It's just like, and we also look at just the strategies of the Warren Buffett's. Just
yeah.
it's very productive, and it's nice to be a part of and lead. So
Yeah, it's definitely things that maybe typical school doesn't cover, but I feel like people should know these things. I remember last year taking the survey that you guys did, because I was in the stats class with Nick Shear, and he had us all take it. Maybe it was in Spanish too. It was some class
yeah,
take it. Um, and there were even I, who feel like I generally know more about that world, but there are even some questions where I'm like, oh, I don't know that. I remember getting mad at one question about like mutual funds or ETFs or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
There's some questions that ticks people up. Like there's the ETF question. Even teachers had no idea what it was, but it was just
yeah,
yeah.
no, but it's good. Like people, I feel like these are things that people should know, and especially in things when it comes to investing aspect. Um, you can make money just by putting in the stock market, and a lot of people don't take advantage of that. And obviously it's not 100% certain, but just at least being aware that that's an option. It's very cool that you guys are doing that. And on the other side of things, being able to just do things that, like running a business or being a part of a business even, or being able to communicate with other people, just like what maybe the Boy Scouts are teaching. This is one aspect that you're bringing that to students in Drake, which I think is very awesome. Um, and yeah, I think that kind of covers it. I'm sure there's lots of other cool stuff that you're doing. But thank you so much for being on, talking a little bit about your life, what you're involved in. And I hope that your quarantine, forever how long, I think it's starting to slow open up, whatever, but I hope it
yeah,
continues to be good. So yeah, thank you for being on.
yeah.